Hello, my name is James Stewart, and this is my son, BJ. Fresh out of high school in the year 2000, BJ joined the U.S. Army and served in Special Forces, serving in both Afghanistan and Iraq. So you can imagine how relieved my wife and I were when he safely returned home in 2004. But the darkest days were still ahead. In October of 2005, BJ was struck by an SUV while riding a bicycle. The impact was so severe that the EMTs did not think he would survive the trip to the hospital. He sustained severe head injuries, a punctured liver, and a shattered leg, which the doctors said would need to be amputated if he survived. Doctors later told us that the brain injury was so severe that BJ would probably never reach more than a 4th or 5th grade level. Today, as you see BJ, you are seeing a true miracle. BJ graduated from college in 2010 and has fully recovered. Throughout the years of recovery, my wife and I prayed for more than just a physical recovery. My wife's constant prayer was that BJ would be given the mind of Christ.
6 weeks after the accident, when I regained consciousness, I had a lot of people tell me that God had spared me for some special purpose. Part of my rehabilitation took place at a VA facility 600 miles away from home. My dad was there with me though, and though he works during the day, we spent every evening together. Dad asked me what I planned to do when my recovery was complete. We had plenty of time to talk about it, to pray, and to research. My plans before the accident had been to become a funeral director. I have some godly relatives who own several funeral homes in New Mexico, and their lives have made a huge impact on mine. Jesus said, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted."
BJ and I began to realize that particularly in the age of the non-nuclear family, it is difficult to provide help and assistance to a grieving family that is scattered across our country. In our research, one fact that really jumped out to me was sociologists saying that in the 1960s, Americans said that they had a close relationship with 4 to 5 other people, but in recent years, that number has dropped to 1. So, who will reach out to a grieving person after a loss when the family is scattered across the country and that one other significant person has just passed away? And thus began our work to build an online service called SharedSorrows.com. We designed Shared Sorrows to meet 5 critical needs: planning, selection of providers, communications, memorialization, and grief care. You can read more about each of these in the brochure that's included in your packet. We're pleased to have Marketplace Chaplains and Hope for the Heart Ministries as partners. Please now watch this brief video clip to gain a better understanding of how we can assist you and your congregation when someone in your faith family experiences a loss.
Recently, my husband died unexpectedly. One moment I was saying goodbye to the love of my life, and the next moment I was barraged with questions and decisions to make. What funeral home was I planning to use? The funeral I wanted was $8,500. How was I going to pay for it? Credit card, check. Had I notified everyone? The kids wanted to know how I was going to get them home for Dad's funeral. Did I have a clergyman to use for the funeral service? Where is his will? Will I need a lawyer? Was his insurance policy paid up at the time of his death, and how could I get hold of that money? It was overwhelming. But then a friend engaged the services with SharedSorrows.com for me. They helped me negotiate the funeral costs. They got my kids home. They helped verify the insurance coverage. And then later on, they set up a family-directed memorial fund so that our friends and family could make memorial contributions to honor my husband, as well as to help me pay the expenses. Shared Sorrows thought of everything. After the funeral was over and the family was gone, I got a phone call from a grief coach, and he was able to help me work through my grief and my loneliness.